Today we will explore the law of reflection, which is an aspect of the law of sowing and reaping, an aspect of the causal law of karma. I will show how this law determines of how we see the world around us and how the world perceives us. As you have heard me saying, everything that exists is consciousness, which is energy fluctuating in myriad vibrational frequencies. The highest, the pure, the noble vibration or frequency can always penetrate the lower vibration, including matter, which is also nothing but transformed down energy and vibration of lowest quality. But the lower cannot penetrate the higher. Of course, we understand that any high vibration that penetrates another high vibration does not create any shadow or reflection. Therefore, there are no shadows in the pure heavens, the absolute reality, as everything penetrates everything else. But it is very different for us humans here on Earth. With our vibration, we cannot penetrate matter. Therefore, we merely project our thinking and our actions onto the surface of whatever surrounds us. And matter only reflects back to us that what we have sent out, our thinking and our actions. In other words, we are only experiencing our own projections that are mirrored or reflected back to us. That is our life, our world as we are experiencing it right now. That is our present state of consciousness. I explain the dynamics in greater detail in my video, The Law of Projection. Let's look at the example of a lake. With our human eyes, we can only see the reflection on the surface. But beings of higher vibration can see through everything, including the surface of the lake, and see the rich, pulsating life below. The depth of the lake is life, is God. That is the difference between high vibrational penetration and low vibrational reflection in our relative and temporary reality of time and space. As I've mentioned in my video, Emerge from Your Cocoon, we are like a caterpillar in a cocoon. What is this cocoon made of? It is our small self-made ego world that consists of all our negative sensations, thoughts, words and deeds, all our programs, everything that is not yet in harmony with the divine law of selfless love. These unresolved human facets show themselves as pictures that make up the walls of our cocoon. And that is what we are always looking at. So basically, we only see ourselves. Because these walls are like mirrors, reflecting back to us who we still are and what we have sent out. That is the law of reflection. It is interesting to note that the human eye does not really see. It only registers what we as humans have projected, which are our programs, our karmic burdens, our beliefs, our fears, our habits, and so on. They make up the walls which are the radiation of our aura, the plasma or corona. And that is also all that we can talk about. That is all that we can understand. That is all we know. We are all living in our own aura, our cocoon, that we created with our own programs and beliefs. That is our present state of consciousness. I explained it further in my video, Raise Your Consciousness. Now, collectively, we may agree on some general terms like red, black, white, meadow, forest, house, moon, and stars. But how we see these items is totally depending on our personal programs and beliefs, which make up our cocoon and through which we perceive the world like through a set of glasses. Or as Byron Katie put it so well, the world is as you believe it to be. Here's a very simple test. For instance, looking at this symbol will call up fear in some viewers. In others, it will be the opposite, a feeling of power and strength. The same symbol, but how it is interpreted totally depends on who is looking at it. Let me give you another test. In a moment you will see an image of a familiar and ordinary thing. Pay attention to the first thought or association that comes up in your mind when you see the next picture. Ready? What did this apple call up in you? Do you see a symbol of health that keeps the doctor away? Or a heavily sprayed and gene-manipulated fruit? Walking through an apple orchard? Sweet memories of grandma's apple pie? Apple computers? Stories like Adam and Eve, Snow White, William Tell, and many of the Greek mythologies that are all about an apple? Or something very personal? What does it reflect back to you? We see this apple through the glasses of our aura. It is reflecting back to us our very personal stories, beliefs, judgments, biases and programs. Therefore, everybody sees this apple differently and has a different reaction to it. Of course, this is not a new discovery. The ancient teachings of the Talmud already tell us that we don't see things as they are, we see them as we are. Everything around us is nothing but a reflection of ourselves. If you are still doubtful, I give you another example. The psychiatrist Oscar Janiger conducted the following experiment. An artist was given 2 50 microgram doses of LSD separated by an hour and asked to draw several sketches of the doctor who administered the drug over the course of 8 hours. This is after 30 minutes elapsed. After 85 minutes. After 2 hours and 32 minutes. After 2 hours and 45 minutes. After 4 hours and 25 minutes. After 5 hours. And after 8 hours. Obviously, it wasn't the doctor who changed his appearance, but the changing state of consciousness of the artist and his cocoon or aura. Do we now see that it is always what goes on in our mind that determines how we see the outside world? The movie that we see outside of us is always in our head, never ever the other way around. If the outside world upsets us in any way, it is only because it reflects back to us what is in us. That is the law of reflection. So we all see the world very differently because no two states of consciousness are the same. Everyone lives in his or her very own cocoon, his own bubble, his own personal echo chamber, just like in a snow globe. All the people around us live in their own personal snow globe, only seeing themselves. We can also say they live in their very own universe. In other words, this world has nearly 8 billion parallel universes, and everyone is his own supreme ruler of his own universe. But our personal cocoon or universe is also the key to our freedom. There are no accidents in life. Nothing happens by chance. This includes also what we see, on what our eye falls from moment to moment. What or who gets our attention, particularly when that what we see gives us an emotional reaction and resonates with us. That is the law of resonance. It will tell us something. It has a message for us. What is it that we have to clear up and take responsibility for? Carl Jung said it as follows: everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves. This self-discovery is the beginning of our path to perfection. Some information for today's video come from the books Live the Moment and Dein Leben im Diesseits ist dein Leben im Jenseits by Gabriele. I understand that the second book will also eventually be available in English and other languages. You can always check my website lifeexplained.com and go to the recommendation site to find the latest books available. Hope to see you in my next video.